Fruit contains loads of great vitamins, fiber, minerals. Fruit is natural, great for health. This is something we all know. But with all this goodness, I've observed 3 mistakes on eating fruit with almost all clients who come to Sepalika for one of our health programs. The first mistake is how much fruit you really need, or is there something as eating too much fruit? Typically, I would hear clients tell me that I eat very healthy. In fact, for breakfast, all I eat is just fruit. And when I ask them how much fruit they eat, usually they'll tell me a large bowl, just to reassure me that they're eating adequate fruit. Somehow we think that just because fruit is loaded with nutrients, it's all good for us and you can have any amount of it. The truth is, eating too much fruit in a day is not advisable, and I will come to that actual reason a little later in this video. Let's go on to the second mistake I see people making. People eat fruit after a meal, in a fruit salad or a plate of cut fruit, a very typical choice of dessert. I'd advise you to not eat fruit with a meal, but more on it later after we do the third mistake, which is, I notice that fruit is had as a healthy evening snack when the 5 p.m. hunger hits. This is probably the most popular food diary entry I've seen with our clients, especially among women who want to lose weight. Sure, having fruit is far better than having namkeen or chips, but evening fruit eating is a bit of a no-no. So why did I tell you that a big bowl of fruit is bad at breakfast? To understand that, you need to know how we digest fruit once it gets inside our body. The sweetness in fruit comes from a natural fruit sugar called fructose. Now, this fructose is very different from glucose, which is there in white sugar or any carbohydrate food that you eat in like a bread, a pasta, a roti, or a rice. Glucose is digested in your small intestine, but fructose or fruit sugar is processed in your liver. So what's the problem? The problem is that when you eat a diet that is high in calories, and let me assure you, most of us tend to do that, and when you eat a diet that's high in fructose with the fruit, which is coming from that big bowl of fruit, your liver gets overloaded and starts turning that excess fructose into fat. Eventually, people who consume too much fruit can develop non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and that's a condition where your liver is actually coated with fat, and that's not good for you. So how much fruit is ideal or right for a day? Anything that fits into your hand, into the palm of your hand, half an apple, a small pear, half an orange, a small bowl of mixed chopped fruit is fine, but a big bowl is an absolute no-no. The second thing we discussed was, why is eating fruit with a meal or after a meal bad? Somehow the word salad in a fruit salad makes us think that we're eating healthy, so we feel less guilty when we indulge in it as a dessert. But here's the concern. When you eat fruit with a meal, it slows down your digestion, meaning the food sits in your stomach for much longer, giving it an opportunity to rot or ferment. This can cause post-meal gas, bloating, or discomfort. I'm sure many of you experienced it. The thing is, you never correlated to the discomfort to the fruit that you've eaten. Why does this happen? Why does fruit slow digestion? It's because fruit is high in fiber, and therefore the progression of the food is slowed down in the digestive tract. And when digestion slows, the semi-digested food tends to sit for too long in your stomach, or in intestine, causing the carbohydrates to ferment. Here's another way to look at that same problem. Fruit is basically sugar, which breaks down very, very easily. However, the rest of the food that you've eaten in your meal are more complex, whether it's either complex carbs or protein or fat, because you're eating a roti, a dal, a chicken, a sabzi, a salad. Now these guys have gone in first into your tummy. They need to be digested first, and that takes a little while. In the meanwhile, the fruit that you've eaten is already rapidly broken down and it's sitting in your stomach, just waiting and fermenting as you digest the rest of your meal. The final point that I mentioned was about the issue about eating fruit in the evening or after 4 p.m. Our digestive fire or power peaks around noontime and then sort of gradually slows down as we get more and gets very, very sluggish by the time night sets in. This is obvious because human beings have evolved to be more active during the day, gradually getting sedentary with dusk and the darkness that follows. Remember, fruit is high in simple sugars. So if you eat a large amount of simple carbohydrates like fruit in the evening, or worse still, a lot of people I see eat it after dinner, when you're less active, that fruit sugar ends up getting stored as fat because you really don't need that energy anymore and during the evening or at night. So avoid fruit post 4 p.m. and especially if you're on a weight loss plan. If you read Ayurveda, the texts always refer to this principle. Ideally, eat fruit in the morning, let's say earlier in the morning around 7 to 8 a.m. when your tummy is empty, or around 11 a.m. which would be about a couple of hours after, good hours after breakfast. Have fruit that's in season, have fruit that's colorful, but limit your enjoyment to a nice small bowl.